So, um, in this stage of working, I just so happened to w- pick up a shift at a different store location. So this particular location, I had never been here before. I don't know why I wanted to work in this area. I had been dying to work in this area, so I did. And I met my husband. I met I didn't know he would be my husband, but I met him. And his name is Xavier. That's so funny. He just texted me. So I met Xavier on a day that I picked up a shift at a different store. So I walked in, and the second he saw me, his jaw dropped. Like he just paused, like he had seen a ghost or something. So I'm just looking at him all funny, like he wasn't even my type, you guys. I was interested in the kind of guys that were a little rough around the edges. And Xavier looked like such a nice guy, and I was just like, yeah, you're not my type. But I'm friendly, so I was open to making friends. So I had been talking to him on the shift or whatever, and we somehow ended up in the back room together at one point. So he just started a conversation with me, and I can't recall the conversation word for word, but we had got on the topic of school. So I was telling him about my little plan to drop out, become a college dropout or whatever. And he gave me another option, and I could not believe I had never thought of this before. He was just like, transfer. And he was telling me about a different school that he was transferring to. And y'all know I was into playing follow the leader, not thinking for myself. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to transfer to that school too. But this time it actually, playing follow the leader actually worked out for me. So he was just talking to me about a bunch of different stuff. He was telling me about the church that he goes to, and I was telling him that I had just dropped out of church as well. So yeah, he was just putting me on to a lot of stuff. Like we had a really great conversation. And at the end of the night, he didn't ask for my number or anything. And I thought about it for a little while, because I'm like, I know he likes me, I know he wants me. Like, that's crazy he didn't ask for my number. But it just wasn't the time that time. But the universe has a great way of working things out, because, and I promise y'all, this is getting into my awakening, but the universe has a funny way of working things out, because over the next 2 weeks, I just kept seeing him. Like, I was working at a store on another side of town, and he popped up there. Then I went to a whole different side of town, and he popped up there too. So I'm like, okay, this is just too much of a coincidence. So one morning I was chilling at home. I did not go to school. I did not go to class. I was done with school in my mind. Well, no. I had put in my transfer application and got accepted into my new school. So I was done with my old school. Like, I just wasn't going back to class. I can't believe I did that. But okay, so I was chilling at home or whatever, and one of my friends texted me. Like, she was my best friend back then, and she was like, I know someone who has a crush on you. And the first person that popped up in my head was Xavier, but I'm like, it can't be him, because she doesn't know him. So I was like, who is it? And she was like, his name is Xavier. And I'm like, how do you know him? Well, it turns out they had been in the same math class all semester long, and had never even spoken to each other until that day. And how I came up in their conversation, my friend at the time was trying to get a job at Quick Trip, and they were talking about Quick Trip, and she was telling him, oh, I have a friend that works for Quick Trip, and who is your friend? And that's how that conversation went. So as soon as she told me his name, I was just like, okay, go ahead and give him my number. Like, he's not gonna ask at this point. Give him my number. So he took my number or whatever, and we text every now and then. We weren't really big on talking at first, honestly. And I had wondered why. Like, I know this boy likes me. Like, I can tell. Why is he not making any moves or whatever? So I ended up working with him again, and he was telling me, like, he was just having phone troubles. Like, his phone had broken, da 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 da. whatever. So we got back in touch, got back in contact, and we would hit each other up every now and then, and we would have very stimulating conversations. Like, he told me he just likes to pick my brain, and I like that about him. But still, we didn't talk often or whatever. So my birthday for that year was coming up, and I invited him to the birthday dinner that I was having. So he had told me that he couldn't make it on that day, but he was willing to take me on a date. So we ended up going to the movies and getting ice cream. It was a Saturday, and he invited me to go to church with him the next morning, and I accepted his offer. So I drugged one of my friends along to church with me because I didn't want to go by myself. And I loved this church. Like, as soon as I got in there, it was so different from the church I had been going to for all those years. Like, the choir didn't sound half as bad. I could understand the preacher. That was the biggest thing. I understood everything the preacher was saying. He broke it down very well for me. And it just kept my attention. He kept my attention all during his sermon. Like, I was sold to the man on the pulpit. So at the he was a prophet. Now, mind you, I never really heard of a prophet before I went to this church, and I never received a prophecy. I never received the prophecy if I never heard of a prophet, but I wasn't familiar with that type of stuff. So he had started prophesying to people, and I was amazed. Like that, I was amazed, y'all. That was crazy to me. Like, what? You can hear from God? I haven't heard from God for my whole life. So yeah, he prophesied. I was amazed. I had already made up my mind I was coming back the next Sunday. And right before the benediction, he pointed to me. He was like, "Girl with the pretty eyes." And I looked around the church like, who's he talking to? But he was talking to me, of course. And he was like, you have you're supposed to be here. And he was, what else did he say? He was like, God wants me to, he was like, I see you in the school. And he probably said a little other stuff I can't remember. But he was like, God wants me to tell you that he loves you. And I could have cried. Like, I have been having such a rough time for the past few months. I didn't know myself. I was just so lost. I was just out here in this world. And to know that God loved me, it grounded me in a sense. That's the best word I can use to describe it. Like, it made me feel so good. It like took a load off my shoulders to know that God loves me. So yeah, that was that. And I started going to his church regularly. Like, I had just transferred to a new school, which was right by the church. My job was 5 minutes away. Like, shit was just going great for me, and it was turning around. It seemed like all the things I need, school, work, and church, 5 minutes within each other. I don't have to drive far. I think I had just got a new car. Yeah, things were working out for me. I felt like I was finally getting my life on the right track. So I started going to this church. Me and Xavier, we flirted all the time. Every time we saw each other, we were kind of flirting, but we didn't really talk much. He told me about a covenant he had made with God, and his covenant included not being in a relationship for a year and also celibacy. I had never heard of celibacy, and I was not celibate. But when he told me about it, I followed the leader. I took on a vow of celibacy. And yeah, we were kind of in our own lanes, but we were still friends, if that made sense. And I just knew that at the end of the year, he was going to be my man. Like, we was going to be in a relationship, and that was going to be that. So go a few months in, Xavier's birthday rolls around, and he's having this little get together at this place called Main Event. So of course he treated me so not like when he took me out for my birthday, it was the best day ever. So I was like, I'm gonna do something nice for him as well. I'm gonna pay for his whatever he decides to do here, I'm gonna pay for it. So I show up excited and and y'all, Xavier walks in with another girl. Like he walked in with the pastor's daughter, and I was I can't even explain to y'all how I felt. Like I couldn't concentrate on shit the whole time. I was trying to keep it cool. I could not concentrate on nothing. I wanted to beat Xavier's ass. Like I was ready to fight. Like whew, I still I still be picking on him about that to this day, and we can laugh at it now. But at the time, I was ready for my round. Like we could have fought. So yeah, I went home that night and I kind of just shrugged it off. Like, you know what? He wasn't my man anyway. He wasn't committed to me. I was committed to him. I really can't be mad at him because even all during that time, he helped me so much. Like, I still give him credit to this day. You were my angel in disguise. You took me in a different direction, and yeah, he was a good friend. He was a great friend, and I can never discredit him for that. So I let him and her be. They got into a relationship or whatever, and I was just minding my business, focusing on myself. And one day I got a phone call, and I should have let the phone ring. It was a lady from the church, and she disguised it as she wanted me to help her do something. She was calling me and asking for my assistance. And I love to help people. Like, my name is Alexis. It means helper of mankind. Like, I love to help people. So, of course, I said yes without question, but I was at work, so I told her I had to go. And she was like, but can you call me back after you get off? And in my mind, I'm thinking, like, for what? Like, we already said what we had to say, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna call you back when I get off work. So I call her back, and she begins telling me about her son. Now, her son, I had noticed him already. Like, he's the rough around the edges that I desired back then. So I had took notice to him or whatever, but like I said, I was focusing on myself. I wasn't even trying to go that direction. But she was telling me, oh, he thinks you're cute. He likes you. He wants to talk to you. Da 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 da. And I'm just like, well, if he wants to talk to me, why hasn't he like opened his mouth? Why he's grown? Like we are all grown. I don't get it. So she was just telling me he's shy. He's not gonna make the first move, and she was really selling her son to me, y'all. And just like a dummy, I bought it. Like I bought it. There was a whole situation. Like for about a year, a little over a year, it was a constant pushing of me towards her son. Like her son was in a relationship and had a baby on the way, and his mom, the lady, her mom, her, and the pastor of that church would always tell me, that's supposed to be your husband. God said that's supposed to be your husband. This situation is just a test of your faith. Who are you gonna let win, the devil or God? That girl is his girlfriend, his then girlfriend. They're still in a relationship to this day, but they were telling me that was about to end soon. God told them that was about to end soon, and I just need to trust and have faith. And they were just selling me a story for so long, like praying with me about him. Just it got deep, like it got deep. So it was a bunch of manipulation involved and all that, and I allowed it to go on for so long before I was just like, okay, I don't want him. Like, I had to tell them I didn't want him. And even after that, they would tell me, well, you don't know what you want, and God has the final say-so. And just making me feel bad for not wanting somebody else's man. Like, so that, we went through that little situation for a minute. So we're going to fast forward. 2018 comes. And I'm already feeling bad about the year because I feel lonely. I don't feel like I have a strong connection with God, even though I'm sitting here reading the Bible. Like I had took on a task of reading the Bible. This is a time where I just spent my time reading the Bible, studying the Bible, getting as much information as I can, like just really trying to make that strong connection with God. And I used to go to church, and I would never get prophesied to. Like I felt like God didn't really have nothing to say to me, and it just made me feel bad because I'm just like I'm living my life. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm looking for direction, but I'm still facing all of these struggles. I'm waiting on you, God. I'm waiting on you, Jesus. But what's going on? Like I used to sit in my car and cry and just scream. And I remember one time I just told myself, I want to go home. I want to go home. I was at my house, y'all, but I was just like, I want to go home. I'm so ready to go home, but I didn't know where home was. I just had this strong desire to go home. So I got tired crying, like got tired doing all that. So I started making vision boards. I started writing out what I wanted. I started painting and just hanging affirmations all over my room and my wall. And I just used to read those daily, and I used to pray daily, and I just used to keep going on my own. So 2018 comes, and what happened? Okay, so 2017, we had a little New Year's Eve service, and the pastor was up here telling everybody, this your year, or you can expect this year. I didn't get nothing. I was like, this is not my year again. Like, again, I ain't been through enough. Like, goodness. So, get to 2018, and I'm just, at this point, whatever it is, whatever. Like, I'm numb to bullshit at this point. So I'm still going to church faithfully, still just maintaining, going to school, going home, just trying to stay focused on, I don't even know, I'm just trying to keep my head above the water. So around June-ish, Xavier had texted me, and he had told me that his job was hiring, and he thought very highly of me, and he wanted to put in a recommendation for me if I wanted the job. Now, Xavier had a good job, so I was like, yes, I would love to get your job, and da-da-da-da-da. So he was telling me that he would go over some of the interview questions with me and all of that. So I'm just like, okay, that's fine. And he used to do these little exercise classes for the church. So he told me like he would get with me at the exercise class and we would talk then. And I was cool with that. So we got to the church. We did a little, well, we didn't even go, we went to the park and we did a little exercise class or whatever. And yeah, after the exercise class, we started talking, and we talked about the job for a little bit, but he just looked like something was wrong. And we started talking, and I was telling him about this guy that was trying to play me or whatever, and he had told me about that him and the pastor's daughter had broke up. And he told me like the whole story, what had been going on for the past year and a half. And y'all, it was the exact same thing I had been going through with this other family, like with the mother and her son. Like, just, we had been going through the exact same journey and didn't even know it. Like, we were both stuck in a tight bond of manipulation. And I understood him so well only because I had been through the exact same thing. Like, that just still blows my mind to this day how similar our journeys were. It was scary. So we started talking or whatever, and we were just friends. I wasn't interested in Xavier at all. I already knew like that would lead to a mess, but Xavier was definitely interested in me. We went to the Cheesecake Factory as friends to continue our conversation. And Xavier said nothing the whole time. Like, I felt like I was talking to myself. I was just going on and on. And the only thing he was doing, he was just staring at me and smiling. And I was just like, okay, we not gonna do this. We can't do this or whatever. But we talk constantly. Like, we just, I don't know. We talk constantly. We texted constantly. He was my sneaky link. Like, he was definitely my sneaky link. And so it came out eventually to the pastor. So the pastor found out because he pulled Xavier to the side and was like, God is telling me that someone else has your attention, or they're not gonna let me put him down. So we're just gonna finish this video with him. So we get to the, where was I at? Oh yeah. So the pastor had pulled Xavier to the side and was just like, God told me there's another woman in the picture. Somebody else has your interest, and da. And Xavier just told him, like, it's Alexis. Like, I want to talk to Alexis. And that did not go well at all. Like, y'all, this pastor paid me no attention for the whole 2 years I was there. And as soon as he found out that Xavier was interested in me, he called my phone and told me we needed to set up a meeting. And in our meeting, he told me that he was just telling me a bunch of bad stuff about Xavier, like trying to make Xavier seem like a bad person, and telling me that I would also be a bad person, trying to date someone who just got out of a 2-year relationship. And yeah. He also was, while he was talking to me, he was just saying a bunch of little manipulative things. And in my head, I kid you not, and this was a voice that I did not recognize at all. It was not me. But the voice said, remember, he's a psychologist. And as soon as the voice finished saying that, the pastor was like, I'm a psychologist. So that was already a trigger, like, okay. Now, at the time, I really didn't understand it because I was trying to listen to the pastor, but I was so shocked by the voice in my head. And I'm like, what? So I left out of the pastor's office, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to just leave Xavier alone because I see right now it's going to cause a lot of confusion. So I don't know why he's laughing. But so I told Xavier to meet me at the park the next day, and I bought him some ice cream so I could break up with him. We weren't together, but in his mind, this was going somewhere. So I had to break it off, and he wouldn't let it go down the next day at the park. We just kept talking, and next time we went to church, it was for like a little Wednesday night service, and I was supposed to be dancing with the girls and singing a song with the youth choir. And I had did my little dance or whatever. The pastor let me do the little dance. I love dancing, y'all. Like, I love to praise dance. So I came out, and he was right there, and he was like, if y'all gonna continue, he was loud. He was in the little vestibule area. And he was like, if y'all gonna continue this, then y'all, I can't pastor y'all, and y'all gotta leave now. Like, he wouldn't even let us finish the service. He was like, if y'all gonna talk or what? Because if the answer is yes, y'all gotta go now. This is not of God. This won't work out. And he was, I had never seen him get upset, but he was angry. He was angry as fuck. Like, so Xavier left. Like, Xavier was so sure that he wanted me, y'all. He left immediately. Now me, I was so confused. I didn't know which leader to follow because I never made my own decisions before. So I went and sat in the church for a little while, but eventually I ended up leaving on out because that was some bullshit. Like, he in the meeting, he told me that his daughter would beat me up in the church, and he can't control his daughter. And I'm like, how are you a pastor? You're supposed to be the leader of a whole group of people, and you can't control your daughter? Like, come on now. So yeah, and then the lady, the boy's mom I told y'all about in the beginning, she had become like a godmom type of figure, and she was just egging me on like, don't break up with him, y'all good together. That she had told me all this stuff, and when the pastor got in the picture, oh, don't put me in it, I didn't say nothing, I don't know nothing about this. And I left that whole fucking church alone because they had me fucked up. But it was a big mess. So we leave the church, and now we're together. We're officially together, and we're wondering like, okay, what now? What church are we gonna go to now? So we, over the course of a few months, we visit a few different churches. We try out a few churches, but none of them really work out. Like, we're not really feeling it. So we found this one church. It was the last church we went to that we really liked. Like, we liked it there. But the people were extremely nice. Like, they were kind people, but it was our views on the Bible that broke us away from church. We had started reading the Bible together, started studying it, putting pieces together. Things didn't make sense. Practices that were going on in the church didn't make sense. So we just left it all together. Like, I was scared as fuck, y'all. Like, I had known Jesus all my life. That's all I knew. And it was a lie. Like, everything they ever taught me was a lie. So at this point, I'm hurt. Like, I pulled back from the church wholeheartedly. And even still, like, after I pulled back from the church, I didn't want to say I didn't believe in Jesus. Like, I was so scared to say it. It was a lot of fear, because it's like, okay, this is all I've known all my life. What do I do? So eventually I just I had to ease myself into it. Like, and that's why I get it. Like, it's hard to back away from religion and back away from some beliefs that some of the beliefs that we have held on to, especially if we've known them for all our lives. But I had to take myself to a place where I just had to come face to face with the truth. Like, I see with my own eyes. I'm opening my eyes. I know that this isn't true. So, we stopped going to church. For a minute, I didn't even know if I believed in God or at all. But things just work out. They work out how they're supposed to work out. Like, I needed to give myself time to back away from all of that. I needed to, I don't want to say give myself a break from God, but just give myself a break. Like, I had been through a lot in the past few months, so I just completely backed away from it. But things come full circle, and I came back to God. I didn't come back to religion. I didn't come back to Jesus. I came back to the source, to my creator. And I allowed him to lead. I allowed the source. I won't even say him, because creator of this world carries both feminine and masculine energy. The creator is neither male nor female. So we can't say he, we can't say she. Creator, the source, our God force, our life force, and that's who I've come to know. That's who I've come to be in tune with. And nothing on the outside brought me to that. It was all internal. And that is why it is so important to go within, to know yourself. Once you find out who you are, you will immediately like uncover the truth of the source, because you are a part of the source. You are a part of God. Even in the Bible, it will tell you you're made in God's image. Like, we're all a part of God's body, and that is true. That still holds true in the absence of religion. God is still God in the absence of religion. And I think that's what a lot of us fail to realize. So, yeah, that's the kind of the story of how I met my husband, got kicked out of the church, and the beginning of my knowing of myself and my source of from which I came. And I hope my story was interesting. I know my baby the good of the wolf, he just woke up from a nap. But yeah, this is me and Xavier's baby, you guys. The pastor was wrong. We got married. We have a beautiful baby. We're gonna make a lot more.